India is the cradle of the human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of legend, and the great-grandmother of tradition. Our most valuable and most instructive materials is in the history of man, are treasured up in India only. Without much ado, I would like to call upon the moderator of the session, Shri Akshay Rathi ji, onto the stage. Akshay Rathi ji is a film exhibitor and distributor with operations spread across the central Indian state of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh. Akshay ji has been a pioneer in the process of consolidation of the film exhibition sector by orchestrating a first-of-its-kind alliance between single-screen cinemas of his chain with Cinepolis, one of the largest exhibition chains in the world. Besides film exhibition and distribution, Mr. Rathi has business interests in the field of FMCG distribution, education, and hospitality. Being an alumni of the Chinmaya International Residential School, Coimbatore, and armed with an MBA from the SP Jain Institute of Management and Research, Mumbai, Akshayji also teaches students at various management and media institutes as a visiting faculty. He is a regular columnist with various business and entertainment publications. I would like to call on stage. Thank you, Akshayji.
I would like to call on stage Srimati Smita Sashtri, founder of Nartan Institute of Performing Arts. Welcome, Smita ji. Srimati Smita Sashtri is a dance guru based in Ahmedabad with over 50 years of experience. She has trained over 7,000 students in Kuchipudi and Bharatnatyam at the Nartan School and introduced the Dikshant Samaro to give new meaning to the traditional form of Arangetram. Smita ji was awarded the Gaurav Purushkar by Sangeet Natak Academy in 1992 for her contribution to classical dance. She served as chairperson of Gujarat State Sangeet Natak Academy from 1996 to 1999. She has received several awards and titles for her contribution to dance and continues to inspire her disciples to excel in their chosen dance styles. Welcome, Smita ji.
I now call upon Shri Vivek Ranjan Agnihotri ji, a popular producer and director. Vivek Ranjan Agnihotri ji is a National Award filmmaker, author, and public intellectual who is a popular public speaker on socio-political issues and lectures on creative thinking and innovation in top global institutes. He is the director of the hit film Buddha in a Traffic Jam, The Tashkent Files, and The Kashmir Files. He is also the author of best-selling books Urban Naxals and Who Killed Sashtri. He is a passionate public speaker on Indian civilization and has spoken some of the best platforms including TED, Harvard University Conclave, Niti Aayog, India's Ideas India Conclave, World Hindu Congress, Indo-US Chamber of Commerce, and many top universities. Vivek ji has won several national and international awards and is married to national award-winning actor Pallavi Joshi. He runs the School of Creativity and VRA TV. Welcome, Vivek ji.
I now request Srimati Meena Banerjee, a famous music critic, to join us. Meena Banerjee is a highly accomplished Indian vocalist, musicologist, and a prolific writer on music. She is a disciple of Pandit Amarnath of the Kirana Indore Gharana and has a Sangeet Prabhakar in classical vocal and tabla. Additionally, she is trained in Thumri Ghazal and Rabindra Sangeet and has extensively performed both in India and abroad. Meenadi has worked as a lead singer of Shri Ram Bharatiya Kala Kendra, Delhi, and has also worked as an art administrator a trilingual writer, translator, and an art critic who contributes to select dailies and magazines. Meenadi has coordinated the Achaival 52 episode TV serial Rag Rang Shastra Ke Sang and has written several books, including the authorized biography of Padma Shri Pandit Vijay Kichlu. She is a recipient of numerous prestigious awards. Welcome, Meenadi. Before beginning the session, we thank this session's sponsor, Messrs. Century Ply. May I request Swami Mitranandji to please come on stage and felicitate Shri Sajjan Bhajanka, Chairman, Century Ply. Yes. We now request Swamiji to felicitate all our speakers for this session. With this, I now request Akshaji to begin the art and culture session. To you, over to you.
Thank you so much, and a warm welcome back to all of you. I realize this is after lunch. Since this is about art and culture, which somewhere encapsulates the entertainment industry, which Vivek ji and I represent in some sense, we'd at least hope to keep you entertained and engaged, if not enlighten you with the thoughts of the eminent panel today. Arts and culture, two sides of the same coin in some sense, where culture, as they say, is India's soft power. And art is a medium that helps us propagate it to the world. And we have a very comprehensive panel that complements itself beautifully, where you have representation from three brilliant streams of art, which are dance, filmmaking, which is storytelling, and music. And India has a very, very rich cultural heritage, a very, very rich tradition of all these three art forms, where the movie making industry in India has had over 100 years of existence, and dance and music go back to centuries. And it's truly a pleasure to have such an eminent panel to share their thoughts with us. Let me begin with you, Smitaji. You've been an exponent of classical Indian dance forms, Kuchipudi particularly, for decades together. And you've represented India as a performer the world over, and to various markets where many Indian art forms still today, including filmmaking, have not reached. We had a chat about markets like Ethiopia and a whole lot of others where you've taken Indian classical dance forms. Let's have your opening thoughts, ma'am, about how dance and classical dance as a medium has really had that kind of an impact where storytelling through the form, which Kuchipudi does beautifully, been able to connect not just the diaspora, but people of different ethnicities to Indian culture.
Yes, I was one of the fortunate. We consider ourselves very fortunate when we are chosen for this divine art. I was also fortunate to be able to get trained at the world-renowned institute, which was run by Srimati Mrinalini Sarabhai at Darpana Academy, and under the illustrious gurus. And that was the basic reason that the training was so excellent that wherever we did our presentations, they were very well appreciated and they were very happy. The first time in 1973, with the invitation of Air India International and Harambe Hotel, Ethiopia, we were invited there to present classical Indian dance, that is Kuchipudi, and folk dances of Gujarat. And I will not be exaggerating if I'll say that the frenzy what we see about the film stars, that is the frenzy we experienced at Ethiopia. And the local people also were so fascinated by our aharya, that means our decorations, our costumes, our jewelry, our presentation. And the most important thing I would want to share with you was that we were invited to the, he is not supposed to be told king. We were instructed that he is an emperor, Haile Selassie. And he was present for the First and Second World War. He participated in it. And we were invited to his palace. And there were 7 different areas where we had to cross and then reach his palace. And the walking lions, they were the chowkis of walking lions, it was there. And then his lifts and the whole palace was built a bit with original gold. And he was also so happy to watch our performance. And he gave us the gold coin of his father-in-law's time. So at that time also he was about 80. So we can imagine. So that was a very, very successful and first abroad tour for our troupe. And that was a wonderful experience. Yes, the first experience that when we landed on Addis Ababa airport, they told me, Madam, come at this side. And there was a lion, it was chained, of course, with the trainer. They said that for the TV, we want you to touch the lion and get the photograph done. And you can imagine what could have happened. So this is not, of course, our dance. But yes, and then next we performed at Egypt, Algeria, Tunisia in 1989. And there also all Arabs, but they were fascinated by our dance numbers. They were also very happy to see our ancient stories through dance. So it really takes, I mean, any audience, it could be UK, USA, wherever we presented our dance numbers, they were so fascinated and still they are keeping in contact. So this is my experience of presenting Kuchipudi style of dance, which is very picturesque and a storyteller.
That's incredible, man. Coming to you, Vivek ji, in India, filmmaking was always traditionally considered to be a medium for escapism for the people, for the common man, till a very interesting disruption happened, which was called Buddha in a Traffic Jam, which is a movie that you made. That was consolidated further by the Tashkent Files, which again was not escapist. In fact, that was a movie that brought you closer to the stark realities of Indian political history. And then it somewhere hit a peak with the with the Kashmir Files. And onwards to the next ones that you've announced, where there's the Delhi Files, the vaccine war, where you've really disrupted this concept of filmmaking being just a mode for escapism for the people. In a scenario where the world has shrunk so much, where the economic, socio-political, geographical scenario of all countries are interlinked with each other, in this battle for narratives, filmmaking actually becomes a medium that really speaks about the socio-political and the cultural scenario of every country. Traditionally, America has used Hollywood as a soft power, and now we are literally seeing a scenario where Indian movies or content is actually behaving like one, which we saw with the Kashmir Files in a huge way, where it wasn't just watched hugely by people in India, not just by the diaspora abroad, but by people of various ethnicities across the world, which really related to the story and started seeing the history of India in a very different light. So let's have you speak about the impact of filmmaking as a medium in this context.
Thank you. Thank you, Chinmaya Mission, for such a wonderful gathering audience here. As a prelude to G20, I think it's going to be historical, and it's a milestone in India's future, I would say. Okay, so you said lots of nice things about me. I don't know if I deserve them. I do not see myself as a filmmaker. The world loves to categorize people. We have categorized the world also east and west and north and south. We love to, and this is not a Bharatiya tradition. This is a very Western tradition to label this person is a chartered accountant, he's a Bengali, he's this. They like to define, create new jargons, and therefore you see this world has become so compartmentalized. It's a fragmented world we live in today. So one fine morning, after I came in good company of people like Swamiji and many others before him, and I got married in Chinmaya Mission in Mumbai. So we are great followers from there, and I have followed all the great people. I was a filmmaker in a traditional sense. I was making feature films in a typical Bollywood style. Then one day I thought, what is the purpose of all this? What is the purpose of art or culture, whatever you say? See, art and culture is the soul of society, and not a society, but human beings as a society. That is the soul. The memes, the cultural memes, the philosophical memes, the artistic memes, all these things unite us. If there is no culture and art, people will start killing each other like we used to do when we used to live as tribes. And then I said, it's very important to tell our story. Our story means Bharat's story. And I believe, I'm convinced beyond any doubt that if this world, like the West says very often, love, harmony, human rights, unity, diversity, all this is possible only if the traditional, original Bharatiya philosophy reaches all over the world. Because we never believed in compartmentalization. We said this whole world, the theme of G20, which is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is not just a slogan. This is true. And I'll just prove it to you in 10 seconds why it is true. What is the fundamental principle of a family? Is it money? No. Is it success? No. Is it only love? No. The fundamental principle of a family is trust. And what is this world suffering with? Trust deficit. Wherever you go, people only talk about trust deficit. The masses don't trust governments, governments don't trust other governments, nobody trusts anybody. And therefore there is conflict. But if you look at Indians, in whichever part of the world, I have traveled most of the world, all of you must have also traveled. If you have observed, fine. If you have not observed, next time see it from this angle. Wherever in the world where Indians live, if you ask their population, their people, who do you trust most? They will say Indians. I have studied in US, and there was a saying generally that if you get lost, go and ask an Indian, he will take you home. And no wonder today we are shining as one of the most trusted community in the professional world, in the artistic world. I am making a film, just to give you an example, what is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam? Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam doesn't mean 5 people living with a lot of smile and happiness and always saying good things to each other. It is also doing larger things which brings the world together with science and technology. I have just made a film called The Vaccine War. After Kashmir files, I said I do not need to bring only bad news to the world, I should bring some good news also. Do you know that this vaccine and the pharma market, R&D, it runs into billions and billions of dollars. And all money is recovered by patenting your drug or your vaccine. Everybody worked for the vaccine. Many countries, powerful countries, came together to make the vaccine. In India, it was made by, you will be surprised to know, any guesses, anybody knows who made this vaccine, Indian vaccine, our own indigenous vaccine? Everybody is ignorant, nobody knows it actually. This is what media has told you. Those are manufacturing and distribution plants, but the candidate, the isolation of the virus and the making the candidate on which you have mass production was done by the world's oldest vaccine research agency called Indian Council of Medical Research, and after that National Institute of Virology in Pune. And who made it there? 80% of them are women. And the women, if you look at them, typical Indian middle class, very housewife kind of women, if you look at them, most of the world, the Western world will say they are not empowered. These women did not go home. They stayed there for months and months. They would go home only for 2 hours. Wash utensils, because there were no maid servants. They washed utensils, cooked food for their in-laws, taught their children. And some of them principal scientists, these women scientists, one of them, her son went through PTSD and is still suffering, going through psychological treatment. Another one, her daughter developed some eye infection and which became so bad, became tumor, and she had to be operated, and she had a poor eyesight now. She is a victim of that. But mothers kept working inside the lab so they could service the entire society. And where is the achievement here? I'll tell you what. India made the world's first indigenous vaccine without any resources, and we did not patent it. When I tell this to people in the West, in America, they have invited my film, I'm going to Johns Hopkins and all these universities. They are inviting me not because we made the vaccine. They are inviting me saying, who are these strange people who did not patented it? This is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. I'll give you another example. One of the greatest artists and intellectuals of our country, I don't want to name because he doesn't want to be named. You know, one of the oldest, greatest persons, I mean, anybody who sees him feels indebted for writing such wonderful stuff. I once called him and I said, I have read this piece of yours, can I use it in my speech somewhere? He said, please do, you don't have to ask me, because in the tradition of Hindu civilization, there is no copyright on knowledge. Knowledge and innovation is created for the welfare and the benefit of the entire world. This is what Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is. So therefore I thought, with the power of cinema, I'm not saying out of arrogance, cinema is just a medium, but it is the most complete medium. Because either you have sound or you have sight, but this is where you have the third dimension, and this is where the audience feels a part of that. I said, why not use cinema to first correct the wrong notions about India? Wherever I went, everybody said, oh, in India, you people are trying to enter, sorry, I'm not want to get religious or anything, but this is a fact. Everybody, New York Times writes every day, Washington Post. They said, you Indians are trying to, with armed forces, take Islamic State, which is Kashmir. I hope they don't say it about Bengal after 15, 20, 50 years.
Geetam Vadyam Nrittam Chatrayam Sangeetam Uchyate. This is a saying which says that Geet, Vadya or Nritya, they are all part of Sangeet. This is how Bharat Muni saw it. And in Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra, we find that the social structure was adopted this in such a manner that this was performed in temples by men and women. How the Gayak and Gayika were always in equal numbers. So these things, in a way, they established that women were at par with men. There was no difference between the male members of a family or female members. They were all equally educated. They were all equally culturally conscious, and there was no segregation. So women were equally empowered in ancient India. But later on, things changed because of the obvious reasons. We know all that. In medieval India, things changed drastically, especially in northern India, but in south, the same culture continues even now. So we find in temples of south the sculptures and murals which speak of those days when instrumental music and dance and music, Geet, Vadya, Nritya, even Natya was vastly popular. They were in temples, they were in courts, they were absolutely necessary for religious performances, religious purposes, and entertainment also. So this is how, this grew up here in India. And later on, when, like you said, that this kind of mesmerized the world, because it has this dhyan thing in it. When you apply a note in our music, the notes are prolonged. You see the note like a yogi. You focus on one note and try to see the frequency and try to hit the note absolutely in the middle, like meat of the bat. And when it hits the central point of the note, only then you get the goosebumps. You cannot avoid that. It's my experience also. I am not such a great singer, but then I try to do pranayam and with the help of music, of course. So when I touch it doesn't happen every day, but when it happens, it's a spiritual experience. It's something which is makes one ecstatic, absolutely. Even while talking about it, I'm getting this feeling. So this is something which, if you are moved while singing, it's absolutely decided that your listener is also getting affected. The music of India is such which transforms the singer as well as the listener. It is like that even dance also. When Smita ji will agree with me, I am sure, that when the dancer gets immersed in the character that he or she is presenting, the audience is bound to get attuned to that. They will feel the emotions. So this is the basic quality of Indian music and spirituality. It cannot do without spirituality. Whether you are an atheist or not, spiritual feeling has to be there.
We'll dwell more about the spirituality angle, but before that, Smita ji, coming to you, while dance is seen as a great performing art, it's also, if you look at it with a different perspective, a very holistic way of enabling a lot of human development. It is, in some sense, if you look at it, a form of exercise. It is, in some sense, a bit of a stress buster. It is, in some sense, a source of happiness for people, something that brings joy. So it's actually something that enables physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Is dance really something that can be India's export in the context of well-being in a holistic manner to the world? Because I don't know if that's been spoken about enough, but if you look at it in some sense, it's actually something that comes from India. In India, the dance forms have been such where they involve all these aspects, be it the physical, spiritual, emotional, or mental attachments to the performing art. So let's have you speak about that.
Actually, I come from Gujarat, And we know that Gujarat is full of commercial and business community. So when I started learning dance, it was just, I was one of the first 8 girls. And the 7 others were millionaires' daughters. When I started learning dance, the Ahmedabad was full of mills, and it was supposed to be Manchester of India. And I was a poor man's daughter because I was doctor's daughter. So what happened that people would always criticize. मेरे फादर को बताएंगे कि ये क्या नाचने भेज रहे हो आप उसको. But then my father was completely convinced that he wanted me to learn dance. I think sometimes Meenaji also will agree. We feel that the destiny works. And things worked like that, and then I started learning dance under such illustrious gurus. And today, I have completed 52 years of teaching dance. About 7,000 girls have learned and graduated from my dance school. And about 100 girls are teaching dance all over the world. So what makes, this is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam means, the girls who are trained at my Nartan School of Classical Dances are teaching Indian classical dance, Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi, to the girls born there, brought up there, American girls, English girls. Those are the girls. So they are incorporated in our family. Now, the Guru Shishya Parampara is very important in dance. We are taught that when we touch the feet of anyone, he could be a bad person, good person, but then you get his good qualities. This is how it is explained. And Guru's word is the last word for any Shishya. Sometimes we say that if the Guru says that jump in the well, we will jump. So that is what is important for a Guru Shishya Parampara and for a disciple and a Guru. There is a special relationship between these two. And this relationship of our Indian origin in ancient India is transformed and taken to other countries through dance. Today I'll be talking about dance because that is my basic field and my passion and my mission. So Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is connected through dance like this. That American girls, when I see them dance, I have to visit America, US, UK very often because my students are teaching there and they always want me to go there and take some sessions, correcting sessions. So at that time I feel so proud that our dances are liked by those people in US and UK. And they are now, just recently I learned to know that the hunger for our Indian original culture, after settling there, our Indians settling there, it becomes more stronger. And though their children have born there and they are affected by the Western culture, they see to it that they are taught everything which is more Indian and again our cultural heritage. And when I see all these things, and recently in LA, the Silicon Andhra University is being established. There, they teach complete all the Andhra art because it is being established by the people from Andhra. And they teach Kuchipudi, they teach Andhra art, singing. So all these old traditional things are being taught in LA. So these are the things I feel through art, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is being achieved. And now they know, they speak the word of dance. This is Jati Swaram. When the performance is being presented, then they would say, oh yeah, this is Jati Swaram. The American girl would say that. Oh, this Shabdam was very good. So these are the things how our culture is bringing back in forefront. And they are able to go deeper into our cultural heritage. So I feel very happy sometimes and proud, and I feel very thankful to our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Bhai Modi, to bring about this wonderful word that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And we always think about, I remember my younger days because we were in a joint family. My grandmother would, go outside if there is anybody hungry, bring him there. So always it was society is good. It was not only me, myself, mine, No, it was all. So that is what I feel, that feeling is, may we wish that that feeling may come in the forefront. And really this particular concept may be spreaded more and more through work of art and craft. Yeah.
Thank you, Smita ji. That's a lovely insight. Vivek ji, coming back to you. For decades, we've had Hollywood movies and movies from the West come into India and become extremely popular. They have significant fan followings. In many cases, they are actually Hollywood actors who are as popular, if not more, than many of our own artists. Till there seems to be something that has changed very recently, where some of the most authentic Indian stories or the most authentic Indian performing art forms have suddenly started making a much bigger impact at a mass scale in the West. We've just seen what happened to Triple R at the Oscars. We've just had a couple of days ago an Indian Bhangra artist, Diljit Dosanjh, a Punjabi musician, perform at the greatest musical festival in the United States. We've had Grammy Award winners recently, Ricky Cage and a whole lot of others. So what is this flip that has suddenly happened where the most authentic, the most culturally rooted tales or art forms from India are suddenly being rediscovered or maybe discovered for the first time by various markets, and they aren't just being discovered, they're being celebrated. There's truly euphoria around them. How is this taking India and the Indian ethos to the world through the medium of art and culture and truly encapsulating the philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam for us?
See, the West believes that time is moving from point A to point B. It's a linear thing. Most of the world. We are the only people who think it's a cycle, it's a circle, so it's coming back. So don't worry. See, there is a difference. Art and culture, when it is used just as a form of entertainment, then it becomes a perishable good. And the biggest crime I think Indian movies have done is by popularizing this dialogue that cinema means only entertainment, entertainment, entertainment. I think that was a criminal act because the future generations will treat cinema like that. If it's only entertainment and entertainment, then what's the difference between circus and cinema? Then what's the difference between, एक हिंदी में कहते हैं कि चाहे हवन का हो चाहे कफन का हो धुएं का रंग एक है, right? But that's not true. The intent behind that is different. The art form in Bharat is a medium of merging with the divine. If you ever go to Khajuraho, all these sculpting you see, all the labor, the sculptors who used to make these brilliant, I think the form of excellence, I mean, if we are talking about art, then sculpting is also a great form of art. They would come in the morning and they would do dhyan, sadhana, till the time they became the statue themselves. And after that, they had to do nothing. Just take their tools and within no time they could make it because it was them, they were replicating their own inner. That's why, that's the difference. One form of art is to enter, to perform. It is performance oriented, which means I will do what I am not. I may be the most violent person in the world, but I can perform to be the most peaceful person in the world. I may be the most tragic person in the world, but I can play a comedian. In our case, it's not that. Until you possess all the qualities through years and years of Guru Shishya training, and you inculcate all the higher forms, you don't become God. When you become God-like, then only you have become an artist. And you see all traditionally these art forms. And what is this art doing? What is the purpose of art? Only to deliver one message. That all of us are gods. We have the same power, which is why the fundamental principle from where all Hindu philosophy begins is Tattvamasi Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvamasi means you have the same power as the God, the divine, whatever the greatest thing you think. And what should be the purpose of life? To discover that. And how do you discover that? Through knowledge, through Brahman, through art, through interaction. And which is why you were talking about Shiva. What is Shaivism? What is the philosophy of Shiva? Shiva you see in so many forms. Most of the people don't understand Shiva. In fact, in the West, they understand Shiva better than us. If you go to CERN, which is the world's #1 quantum physics lab in Switzerland, #1, CERN, CERN. If you go outside, you'll find the first big, huge mural or the statue is of Shiv in his cosmic dance, Tandav Nritya. What is that? Shaivism is that creation and destruction is the same. This entire thing which you are seeing is based on one principle of oneness. And that's what classical dance, classical music, everything ultimately takes you towards oneness with the divine. And divine is not outside, divine is inside. So what is the difference? What is this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam? I know we are running short of time. Just give me 30 seconds, 50 seconds. So, what is this oneness? When most of the civilized world was conquering geographical lands, colonizing, terrorizing, looting, and capturing geographical lands, what were we doing? What was Hindu civilization doing? We were conquering our mind. When they were going out, we were going inside. And this is the reason that this cosmic dance of Shiva, which says that the smallest particle in the world has the same power as the entire universe. Which means you have the same power as the entire universe. And today quantum physics has proved it beyond doubt that this atom, this particle has exactly the same power, the energy of the universe, the same energy is in that quanta, which is why Shiva is there. And two more things I'll tell you. Another thing is Natya Shastra. This world of entertainment which you see Netflix and all that. This science of lighting, this science of stage. In Natya Shastra, they say, रंग मंच. वर्ल्ड में कहीं स्टेज को रंग मंच नहीं बोलते हैं, रंग, रस. रंग और रस दो चीज आपने सुनी होंगी. ये कहां से आते हैं? They come from the kitchen of an ordinary housewife. ये नाट्य शास्त्र जो पूरा है, ये किचन में आपके जितने भी व्यंजन हैं, ऑल दीज थिंग्स, ये उनके रंग और उनके रसों को जब जोड़ते हैं तो लाइक यू द फूड गोज इनसाइड यू एंड मेक्स यू हेल्दी. सिमिलरली ये रंग और रस जब परफॉर्म होते हैं आपके सामने, then your life should also become spiritually healthy. That's what it means. Basically, it enlightens your mind so that you can receive all the divine qualities inside you. This is the greatest of the gifts. I don't know where it got lost. My effort is to have Bharat Muni's statue and Natya Shastra thing in front of the world's greatest art museum or center, so then the world recognizes it. Fifth and the last before I close for the day, this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the concept that the world is one, this whole concept of oneness, who knows better than Bengali Swami Vivekananda took the philosophy of Advaita to the world. He spoke a lot about this phenomenon. Now I think Ramakrishna Mission talks about it. A whole lot of people talk about it, and Advaita is our gift to the world. It's so scientific. There are 5 principles which we have given to the world, but somewhere in the Western mimicry we are forgetting that. So let me just remind you what makes a family great family, what makes a nation a great nation, and what eventually is going to help humanity. And these 5 qualities were born here. These are our fundamental value system, what we give to our children. These are 5S as I call. Number 1 is struggle. That life is a constant struggle of creation and destruction, which Shiva taught us. Is we don't have to learn it in any school. We know it. The day we are born, we know it, because this value is translated. Second thing is sacrifice. त्याग. ये जो त्याग है, जो greatest of the dancers, greatest of the musicians, when I have spoken to them, they said, त्याग और तपस्या 2 चीजों पे ही हमारी कला आधारित है. So struggle and sacrifice, and nobody can be a better example than this, of this than Indian mothers. Nobody in this world can sacrifice like Indian mothers do, to create great values in their children so that they go out and people can trust them. And the third is service, seva. It is in our lifestyle. We don't have a word for philanthropy. We don't have a word for charity. Because in our society, we never believe. That's why I never use these 2 words, and you also should stop people from using them. Philanthropy means I am somebody big, I have some extra money, and I can help you. So you are a needy person, and I can give you something. So I am big Bill Gates, and I'll give you millions of dollars because you're poor. We never, no, seva doesn't mean that. सेवा क्या, आप देखिए सेठ लोग होते थे, all rich people, they would go and do सेवा. एंड गोल्डन टेम्पल में आपने देखा होगा सब सेवा करते हैं. हमारे पूरे कल्चर में सेवा, गाय की सेवा, जानवरों की सेवा, पेड़ पौधों की सेवा. कहीं वी हैव यूज्ड फेस्टिवल्स, समवेयर वी हैव क्रिएटेड सम डेटीज, बट सेवा ऑफ हु? नॉट ह्यूमन बीइंग्स, ऑफ प्रकृति, ऑफ दिस नेचर, which is the Janani, which is the mother of all of us. Fourth is simplicity. Simplicity is an Indian value. That does not mean that you wear cheap clothes. Simplicity is of attitude. Attitude is that today you have an air conditioning, fine. If you don't have air conditioning, fine. You are traveling in a very expensive car, fine. It's all leela. ये सब माया है और लीला है. That is simplicity. I am nobody. That's what makes us a collective society. I am nobody. कुछ काम भगवान भी करता है, हर चीज के लिए हम responsible नहीं है, तो हमारा baggage load कम हो जाता है. In the West they believe we do everything. We are responsible for climate. We are responsible for life and death. We are responsible how India should behave. We are responsible how Africa should behave. Individualistic society, that's why they have no family, no peace. Most depressed people live in the West. And last but not the least is spirituality. Now, spirituality, what is spirituality? A lot of people may not like what I'm saying, but after studying everything in a very simplistic manner, spirituality is nothing. It's your conversation with Prakriti. Prakriti means everything around you, just observing it and becoming one, that is spirituality. Then there are tools, meditation and a whole lot of things, dhyan, samadhi, there are lots of tools for that, but that's what it means. And these are the 5 values. मैं कहता हूँ जैसे अभिमन्यु ने सीख लिया था, हमारे बच्चा जैसे ही बीज बच्चे का पड़ता है, the moment life takes place, I think he or she learns inside the womb of the mother. Every child in this country is born with these 5 great qualities. That is Shiva. All these 5 qualities, and that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, according to me. Thank you.
Coming back to you, Meena ji, in the interest of the time, let's try and keep the answer for this short. But music, again, is an art form that truly has the power, and we've witnessed it in multiple historic events all over the world, to really bring people together, to inspire, right? In India as well, we've seen so many scenarios through the freedom struggle, through the prehistoric times and before, whatever captured history there is, where it's actually been the thread that's actually kept civilization together, that's inspired people, that's made people want to push the envelope and do things in the context of service, like Vivek ji said. Let's actually speak about the current scenario, where what impact can music have today in bringing people together as one family, which is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And it's not just about bringing Indians together for a cause, it's about the need for peace, for, for civilizational coexistence, which is actually something that's a constant struggle today, where there are countries that are in, either actual wars like we see Russia and Ukraine today, or in political or economic wars. How can music as an art form, or any art form, really inspire people to believe in coexistence, believe in the ability to live with love and harmony?
To begin with classical music of modern era, I would like to quote one thing that music is a binding factor of between communities. There are vocalists and instrumentalists you must have heard. Most of them are from a different religion. They follow a different religion, but then when they perform, there is no dividing line. They are all, the servants of music. They come as the servants of music. They don't claim that they belong to this religion or that religion. So most of our musicians, well-known musicians like Ustad Zakir Hussain, you see him on the stage absolutely devoted to his art, and to such an extent that when in an interview he wept like a child when he said that isse pyar karna hota hai tab ye aata hai, otherwise संगीत ऐसे ही नहीं आ जाता है किसी को, बहुत जन्म का एक तपस्या है. You are born with the पूर्व जन्म के संस्कार जिसे बोलते हैं, you bring that with you. Only then you can perform music to such a perfect level. So same thing, Ustad Ali Akbar Khan, he once said that a student of music, like Guru Shishya Parampara की बात कर रही थी. So Guru Shishya Parampara is the main reason that oral tradition has kept our Indian culture immortal. It's still living despite the so many what should I say, attacks by different cultures. The northern India was completely devastated because of these invasions, and they kind of destroyed everything. Universities were put on fire, but nothing got lost. Why? Because we always believed in oral tradition. From a guru, it is transmitted to his disciple, and he carried on transmitting it to his disciple. That is how it has continued even now. We still talk about Natya Shastra. We still talk about Veda, Shruti and Smriti. Veda is called Shruti because it is heard, and Smriti is something which helps you memorize the whole thing. And then we have this Achar, Vichar, Jnana, Vigyan. So first we follow what the Guru has taught you without thinking. That is Achar, practice. Practice without thinking. But after some time, you kind of try to analyze, do vichar. Vichar is to think about it, what you have practiced so far. A child cannot decipher what is taught to him. But after some time, he thinks about it. And then he decides what he will take, what he will not. Then comes Jnana. That means he understands what is good for him, what is not. Then Vijnan, when he becomes proficient in his whatever he has chosen for his life. So this is one way. And then this about Guru, we have heard that Guru Govind do khade kake lagu paए, balihari Guru apno jo Govind diyo bataye. So Guru shows the way to the Almighty, the macrocosmic, you can call it Almighty or macrocosmic form, where everything is vibrating, and from there it comes within us. We are microcosmic form of that macrocosmic form. So Guru teaches us to reach there, to that upper reaches. So, but then Guru should know what he is supposed to teach. So that is why there is another guideline that pani piye chhan ke, Guru kare pehchan ke. So when the Guru is chosen by the disciple, then he should follow Guru absolutely like God. Then it becomes, whatever Guru says is the last word for a disciple. So that is how everything has carried on.
Got it. That's indeed a very interesting insight, ma'am. It's been some lovely thoughts that we've just heard. To dwell on these, let's take a few minutes for questions from the audience, and we'll again do this with a raise of hands. In the interest of time, let's keep the questions short. Please try and raise your question in 45 seconds, and please say whom you want to address it to among the panelists. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Right from the morning, I have multiple questions, but I'm fortunate that I got the opportunity to ask Vivek ji one question. Apart from being a doctor, I am also making short films related to people who are victims of some diseases or acid attack victims, especially girls from Kashmir. So how do you see film in terms of taking up real life events or diseases and showing it into a level of film? And how do you see people accept it as audience, not only entertainment, since you told that it is not only about entertainment? So my entire intention to be a filmmaker was to bring up these topics to the public for their interest. So how do you see it?
See, we are lucky we are living in a wonderful world where technology helps everybody without discriminating. So you must make it. Definitely you must make it. It's a good thing. And you can make it very successfully if you stop following or chasing numbers. Now we live in a world, game is a very old theory. How many people came, how many people saw, it doesn't matter. Now today you have to be a change agent. If you can change even one person, it's the success of your art. So now we don't have to fill studios or theaters. I make my films with the same thinking. After Kashmir Files, we could have made 300 crore rupee films, 200 crore rupee films with any star. But we went back, we made a smaller film than Kashmir Films, a very, very small film, because we wanted to make an impact. और मैं सच बात बताऊं, the real impact comes in scarcity, it never comes in abundance. You make it, if you have any problems, contact me, I can help you.
Thank you so much. For all, since you made Kashmir File, I would say that I have seen lot of Kashmiri girls who have been attacked by acid just because of not covering their head. So it's something very painful.
नमस्ते विवेक जी, माय क्वेश्चन इज टू यू सर. आपकी बुक मैंने पढ़ी थी अर्बन नक्सल्स, उसमें आपने लिखा था दैट यू हैड बीन एन आउटकास्ट बाय योर फिल्म फेटर्निटी. यू डोंट लाइक इट टू बी कॉल्ड एज बॉलीवुड. फिल्म फेटर्निटी को आपने आउटकास्ट कर दिया था. तो कश्मीर फाइल्स के सक्सेस के बाद वो चेंज हुआ क्या सर?
हाँ वो लोग चेंज हो गए पर मैं नहीं चेंज हुआ. मैं अभी भी अपने को आउटकास्ट ही मानता हूँ. So today all of them want to do work with me. Everybody in all the studios, all the stars, they want to work with me. They are all talented people. I'm not saying, I'm not running down anybody's art. But it gives me strength to be an outsider. They said you are an outsider, we won't let you survive here. Thanks to everybody, I'm obliged that they made me realize and understand my roots. And I'm back. So I find more comfort and solace and wisdom sitting in company of Swami Mitrananji kind of people, such great artists. And I'm really, really obliged. I'm saying from the bottom of my heart.
नमस्कार विवेक जी.
अगर सब लोग मुझसे ही सवाल पूछने वाले हैं तो मैं अभी बाहर आ रहा हूँ, वहीं पे मिल के हम लोग बातचीत कर लेते हैं थोड़ा.
Sir, actually you are like Shivaji or Rana Pratap for our generation. So that's why we are so much inspired. So we have to ask you one thing, like sanskar is so much in our blood, and with spirituality, with under Swamiji's this thing, it always it is there. But we have seen in our history that our Nalanda University 3 times destroyed, Somnath 17 times destroyed, even Jagannath Puri, people do not know, 18 times destroyed. So how to protect our these sanskars? Is it not time for some Kalyari Pattayu sort of movie?
Encourage your children to become Vivek Agnihotri. If everybody is going to send their children to convent schools and have only one united great Indian dream to send them to US and join Google, then forget about Maharana Pratap, you will have nobody. I mean, look at it. I mean, after this, some people, you have read Urban Axles, right? So, in what Quest Mall, what mall? Yeah, so they said, so I said, after this event, I'll come and sign books for you. And I just got a call some time back that you can't go there. I tweeted. So I said, okay, I'm not going to give up. What will they do? So I said, okay, let's meet in another mall. If I go there in the evening, they stop me, I'll go to another mall. If they do all that, then I'll just sit on a street and do it. See, I'll tell you what, the strategy of the world is to scare you, to demoralize you. It's absolutely in your hands not to get demoralized, right? And change your dream. Let's have a united dream that all these children of dysfunctional families of US are coming to India to learn about greater things in life rather than teaching every child in India to go outside India or outside of India. It's not a great dream. And I am from a very small village. We don't even have drinking water in my village. No electricity, no train, no bus, Let me tell you, in villages, I know villages very well. In villages, they don't dream to send their children to US. The rich people don't dream to send their children to US. Okay, they don't have a problem with culture invasion or info war or Maharana Pratap and changing cultural scape of India. Even rich people don't care, and the poor people and the villagers don't care. Whose problem is it? Sanskar, middle class. Wherever I go, middle class people are always talking about, see, there is info war, there is culture war, this and that. And what are you doing? What are you doing? The only dream every middle class family in India has to send their children to America. And it's not a good dream to see. We are destroying ourselves. We should not be the generation which destroys Bharat. Let it happen later on. Let us pledge that we should teach our children to live here and work for this society. That is greatness. Asking questions is not greatness. Giving answers is greatness.
That's truly been a great crescendo to this conversation, Vivek ji. Thank you so much for these insights. In the interest of ensuring that the next session commences on time, we'll unfortunately have to close here without taking any more questions. But the panelists are right here, so you can probably engage with them offline later and on their social media and coordinates. Thank you, Vivek ji. Thank you, Smita ji. Thank you, Meena ji, for the lovely, lovely insights. Truly inspired, and very sure that everyone will go back with, feeling truly inspired. Thank you, all of you, for being a wonderful audience. Thank you, Chinmaya Mission and the organizers and G20 for having us. Thank you.